Hi again, everybody. So this is a lesson on chord tones from the ground up. I'm going to try to basically describe where they come from. When you see chords like the one you see over here on the screen on the right, C major 13th. Like, what does that mean? Okay, so it's basically everything is based out of the scale. And if you look at a chord like this, it's every second note going up to the 13th. So you've got the root, the third, the fifth, the seventh, the ninth, the 11th, and the 13th. So this is C, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la. You know, play do. And then if you hear them all together, all those, every second note, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13th, it sounds like a big cluster of notes. It's not nice. It's not a nice sound like that. But there's ways to make chords sound nice the way you spread them out. It's called voicing. But just that's where they come from, just from the scale tones like that. Now, for our songwriting workshops, we're not going to be delving into the extensions, which are the 9th, 11th, and 13th. But it's really important to understand a little bit about the 7th chords, which you know anyway. You've played lots of 7th chords in the songs already you've played. So let's just look at where everything happens and what exactly happens with a chord. So if you look at, this is a basic C major chord. So it's got the root on the bottom, this is C, and then the third and the fifth, 1, 3, 5. Okay? And it sounds like that. It's very normal sounding, right? Okay. And then, what's the difference between a major and a minor chord? So the difference between a major and a minor, if we look at it, I'll just call this in a bit closer. Okay, so if we look at the difference between, there's a C major, and then the CM means C minor. So it's the middle note here gets flattened. That's what that is, that sort of squashed B. So what does it look like, the difference? Let's look at it here. There's your C major, and there's your C minor. So what's happened? This third note, the middle note, the third, if you count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the third for a minor goes down a semitone. So that's the difference between a major and a minor. Okay, so, and there's ways to sort of, practice hearing them and everything. Now, if we go into 7th, all we've done now is we've added an extra note. So we've got the 1, 3, 5. Now we've added the 7th. So because there's 4 notes, there's a few more options in combining those notes. So you have a few more different kinds of 7ths. So the first one is if you just do it from a major scale, you'll see you've got the root here, the third, the fifth, and the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is what's called a major 7th, which fits the major scale. And the major 7th means a major chord with a major 7th. So that's a B, which is normal because in the C scale, in the key of C, it has a B. So it's like that. You can hear it there, that sound for a major. Okay. Now, To make the seventh chord a different, like a dominant seventh, which is, if you look up here, there's your major seventh, C, M, A, J, 7. So that means when you have, so another thing that to pay attention of, here's the C, so there's the root, there's another root, but the major seventh is a semitone down from the root. That's something that I took note of right away when I was learning all this stuff, and it stayed with me. Just remember that the major seventh is a semitone down from the root. And then this dominant seventh, that's the kind that you normally play in your songs. Like if this is the real common kind of seventh that we play, like a D7 chord or a G7 chord. So these are dominant sevenths. So what's the difference between a major seventh and a dominant seventh? So they're both major chords. So the bottom half doesn't change, but the seventh goes down a semitone. So you can hear it here. Major 7, dominant 7. Dominant sevenths are used in blues a lot, so they kind of have a bluesy sound, kind of a bit of an edge to them. Major sevenths sound more kind of open and calm. Okay? So if we go to this, there's your major seventh here. I've got 4 different kinds of seventh that you can have. Okay, so you've got a major seventh. Here's a minor seventh with a here's a major seventh. Here's a minor chord with a major seventh. Now, it's not super common, but it is used. And you hear it in songs like Feelings, or, those kind of patterns. So that's the only time it's used. But listen to it when it's just played normally here. Kind of sounds a bit edgy, eh? There's your major seventh. Here's your minor chord with the major seventh. Okay, then you've just got a minor seventh. Now, you've probably played lots of those in the songs, like a D minor 7 or whatever, A minor 7. And it sounds pretty normal when you hear it. It's pretty calm and just sort of tame, especially compared to this one. With the major 7, there's the minor 7. So what's the difference? So for the minor 7, it's got a minor chord at the bottom, and it has a B natural, like a major 7th up top. Now, minor 7th has a minor chord on the bottom with a flattened 7th. So it's the same 7th as you play for the dominant here, which is the next chord. So now we're going to turn this into a dominant. So what's going to happen? We're going to take this flattened 3 down here, and it's going to become a major chord, and then you'll hear a dominant instead of a minor. So the main reason I did this little one is just so you can see the difference between them all. There's your major 7. That's the most natural chord to fit with the major scale. It's got all the notes for the major scale in. Now this next one is a minor. So the 3rd is going to change. The 3rd goes down. The next one is a minor 7, so the 3rd stays down, but the 7th is also going to go down. And then the dominant 7th, that 3rd is going to go back up to the major. It's subtle, but it's there. So that's one of the things I really wanted you to sort of understand in this lesson. It's just the difference between the major and the minor and the 7th. All of these 7ths are really nice to use when you're writing songs, and we can talk about ways, but the most important thing to pay attention to right now is this one, the dominant 7th. So just remember what's in it. The dominant 7th, it's a major chord with a flattened 7th. If you're thinking about it, like we're in C right now, so if you look at C up here, it's a whole tone down from the root. A major 7th is a semitone down from the root, or a half step. But a dominant 7th is a whole step down from the root. So that's the difference. And that's important because when we start to write songs and progressions, put them in progressions, the dominant seventh chord is really important to the way we guide our progressions. So we'll learn more about that. Anyways, that's the main thing I wanted you to learn from this lesson. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope it helps. See you next time.